ago from BTM forward. I'll explain to you what I've learned in my subject Diplo. I will talk about the dresses. I will talk about the personal skills that I want about a diplomat, and I will talk about also the privileges and immunities of a diplomat. First thing I would like you to know that there are three dresses of a diplomat. First is the morning coat, the next is the tailcoat, and the dinner jacket. I explain to you the first dress. The first dress is morning coat. Morning coat used for farewell dinner, wear with black tie and medals. The next is tailcoat. Tailcoat or white tie is used to pair the white tie, white sleeves, black coat, and sash. And the last is the dinner jacket. Dinner jacket, the aka black tie or smoking used for White House gathering nation. So as you can see, the dresses of a diplomat is very cool, right? They have dresses for like gathering like this, and also the way they dress, it is very impressive because in how they dress, it also represent their country. So it is really great to know the things. In matter of knowing this day I will use morning just because we have a farewell dinner with black tie with medals, right? And tomorrow I'll have a gathering in the White House, so I use dinner jacket. So it's very useful and very nice to know that there's some dresses that has diplomats that very good, that they are really in good shape to use and wear those clothes. About the personal skills that I want the diplomat has. Skill in management under mission. The one that I really love the personal skills is having skills in management under mission. Skill in management under mission. This must be able to manage their own embassy. Managing your own embassy is having a good camaraderie of your employees, and also it represents your country, that your country has a good camaraderie to create a great relationship to other countries. So it's really good to show that all people of your office that has a good workplace communication. So it's really cool that you have like that skills in managing your good mission. Second is intellectual discipline of foreign policy. Intellectual discipline of foreign policy, he knows how to interpret international laws. So interpreting international laws means to avoid war. So if you know how to interpret the national law, you know what are the rules and regulations that you should follow as being a diplomat, or as your country knows the boundaries of what you need or what you not need to do to other countries. Having a good interpreter in international law of being a diplomat is making a good communication to other countries that, oh, the diplomat said that you should do this, Mr. President. So the president knows what needs to be done. So they have a good relationship. So they don't get misunderstanding that can cause if you don't know the international law or you don't know how to interpret the international law. Third one is skills and representation. Skills and representation is proper skills in communication, gesture, attitudes, and good clothing. Having a good attitude means that your country also has a good attitude. know your good skills in communication, your country know also that they're good in communication. And also if you wear nice, you look nice, means your country is nice and good. That's why it is one of the important skills of a diplomat. If you know how to be good, the way you look in others, so they don't think that your country is like that, or it's not bad, it's bad like that. That your country is are really good in communication, have a good gesture, attitude, and clothing. If you done, or the diplomat has and all that he is doing like that. So really, the art of diplomacy. It is you to understand what is the importance of being a diplomat, and how the diplomat creating a relationship, and what are the most important the diplomat need to do if there are some collisions. Please watch and enjoy this video.
I tend to associate the word diplomacy with embassies, international relations, and high politics, but it really refers to a set of skills that matter in many areas of daily life, especially at the office and on the landing outside the slammed doors of loved ones' bedrooms. Diplomacy is the art of advancing an idea or cause without unnecessarily inflaming passions or unleashing a catastrophe. It involves an understanding of the many facets of human nature that can undermine agreement and stoke conflict, and a commitment to unpicking these with foresight and grace. The diplomat remembers first and foremost that some of the vehemence with which we can insist on having our way draws energy from an overall sense of not being respected or heard within a relationship. We will fight with particular tenacity and apparent meanness over a so-called small thing when we have the sense that the other person has failed to honour our wider need for appreciation and esteem. Behind our fierce way of arguing may lie a frustrated plea for affection. Diplomats know the intensity with which humans crave respect, and so though they may not always be able to agree with us, they take the trouble to show that they have bothered to see how things look through our eyes. They recognise that it's almost as important to people to feel heard as to win their case. We'll put up with a lot once someone has demonstrated that they at least know how we feel. Diplomats therefore put extraordinary effort into securing the health of the overall relationship so that smaller points can be conceded along the way without attracting feelings of untenable humiliation. They know how much beneath pitched fights over money or entitlements, schedules or procedures, a demand for esteem can stir. They are careful to trade generously in emotional currency, so as not always to have to pay excessively in other, more practical denominations. Frequently, what's at stake within a negotiation with someone is a request that they change in some way, that they learn to be more punctual or take more trouble on a task, that they be less defensive or more open-minded. The diplomat knows how futile it is to state these wishes too directly. They know the vast difference between having a correct diagnosis of how someone needs to grow and a relevant way to help them actually do so. They know too that what holds people back from evolution is fear, and therefore grasp that what we may most need to offer those whom we want to acknowledge difficult things is, above anything else, love and reassurance. It helps greatly to know that those recommending change are not speaking from a position of impregnable perfection, but are themselves wrestling with comparable demons in other areas. For a diagnosis not to sound like me.
Next, I will explain to you the privileges and immunities of a diplomat. For me, one of the great privileged immunity of being diplomat, one scenario is the diplomat is exempt from all dues and taxes, all personal or national or municipal, except indirect taxes of countries which normally incorporate in the price of goods and services. This is helpful to the diplomats in a scenario like if you're going to your country that you will be a diplomat, of course, you will buy a car, a house, or the goods that you need. The houses that you bought, the car that you will get, the food that you will eat, they all has no taxes. So if you're a diplomat, you can save your money. You can represent your country in a greater look of not spending too much, right? So like if you want a very good car that you will use, so you can represent your country that that country has capable to buy like that car. So if you buy that, there's no taxes. You can look, you can be the face of the country of being rich and being powerful as you represent it. So having an exemption of all dues and taxes is very good. One also the privilege practice that I love is you're not liable to be arrested or to be detention. It is good because even though you are a bad diplomat, still you have a dignity to yourself that you can represent your country. So that your country representing will not be affected because you are respected. But of course, the diplomat should not do something bad. But it is good because really greater image can build a good image to your country. Thank you guys for listening on this video. Thank you, and I hope you learned something. Thank you and God bless.